depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told how to voice the radio. So today we need to talk about Giratina V-Star, because I've caught some tweets from my friends of mine, and they have made me realise that Giratina V-Star might be becoming silly. By silly, I mean the most expensive card we've had for a long time, and potentially getting up to the second most expensive card we've seen in the Sword and Shield era. That is the kind of level we're looking at here. To put it bluntly, things are getting a little bit ridiculous. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the alternate art Giratina V-Star. Because now that's got the lovely Shinji Kanda artwork, and look, at this stage, I'm not a huge fan of this artist. Many of you are. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. It is the kind of art that people will go crazy for. It is very unique, very lovely, very wonderful, and it really has caught people's attention. But it's also attached to Giratina V-Star, and that means that, generally when these prices are going a little bit silly, then that could end up being an indicator of people actually thinking that maybe this is pretty gosh darn good in terms of playability, in terms of wanting to put it into a little bit of a deck. So what have people actually been saying about this? Well, the lovely Brace Gaming, he of, Twitter and various other places, has been talking about this today with Shinji Kanda, etc., saying, now it's closer to 30,000 yen, and people are still buying it. Referring to the card, Brace Gaming is a very big fan of the particular artist and desperately wants this card, as do many people. And 30,000 yen is kind of huge. Like 30,000 yen, we're talking, putting it into currencies that we're slightly more familiar with, you're talking about $216 or around about £183. Incidentally, at that price, I'm out. And I showed you Leafeon Vmax previously, which has actually ended up slightly higher than this. But I do want to bear in mind, I'm recording this video on Friday, which is technically still Friday in Japan just. But it's release day. It is the day the set comes out. So we're not talking about a card that's had time to, mature and grow in value and top and all of that. We are talking about a card which is exploding in value and going a bit silly. That Leafeon I mentioned is about 35,000 yen, which is obviously higher again. But the difference with the Leafeon is it's been out for a while and it's kind of stabilized around there. Although, as I've told you, it does look like there will be a reprint of EV Heroes coming, which will actually bring the price down of that quite significantly. In terms of the question of whether this Giratina is going to stay at this price or not, we will get more into that at the end. So this 30,000 yen, how much can we really believe it? Well, the lovely Poketage has added in, sold out on the two sites I regularly check, and it's not letting up. This is Umbreon Vmax special art levels, and then some. By the way, both of these dudes stream, and you should definitely check them out. They are lovely, lovely people. But what we're basically talking about here is a card, and I use this tweet deliberately, it is approaching the kind of levels of Umbreon Vmax. And Umbreon Vmax, up till now, has been the card in the Sword and Shield era. If you're looking for an expensive card, the card you most should be wanting to pull from a set, it is the Leafeon Vmax, the alternate art from EV Heroes / Evolving Skies, and the Japanese version is a bit more expensive. And let's be clear, Giratina's got a way to go. If we go and have a look over on Mercari for the moment, there are a couple of listings we can see here. One for 95,000 yen and one for 90,000 yen. Yes, this card is a ridiculous card, and that one you're looking at around about £550 or around about $650. It is absolutely preposterous. Giratina is not there yet. Let's be perfectly clear. We are not looking at that level from Giratina. But we're not exactly a million miles away at this stage, given the explosive start it's had. Remember, Umbreon wasn't a 90,000 yen card initially. it was super expensive and it was hard to pull, and then the set went out of print, and then it kept, well, not out of print, but it became harder and harder to get, and then it started creeping up. Incidentally, you should expect over the next couple of months, as this EV Heroes reprint comes, we should actually expect the amount of money that you're paying for this to come down. It should end up getting a little bit cheaper. So what are we looking at for this Giratina over on Mercari? Well, if we take a little snapshot here, we can see 3 listings of it. One for 25,000 yen, one for 27,000 yen, and one for 29,000 yen. So that 30,000 yen that we said a moment ago, yeah, that's looking about right, honestly. That is looking about right. It is about a 30,000 yen card. And obviously, there are different ways that this could go. One way that could happen is, as tends to go, that the price ends up going down. However, there are exceptions to the, it's going to go down after release. One of those exceptions was Umbreon, which never went down. And we do see this sometimes with these Japanese cards, which is to say, they don't always start going down as fast as you would like. And certainly with the low pull rates we see for these crazy good cards, sometimes you just can't get them cheap. They just keep building up and building up and building up and building up until it gets frankly ridiculous. Like, if you were waiting for the alternate art of Mew Vmax to get super cheap, as a nice example, here's a lovely little snapshot on Mercari. We got 3 being listed there, 1 for 40,000 yen and 2 for 35,000 yen. So Giratina's already almost got to that point. Giratina is doing the kind of numbers we're seeing for Mew and Umbreon, except let's be clear, Umbreon massively outpaced Mew, and as it stands at the moment, it kind of looks like Giratina's doing that as well. I mean, Card Rush is a site where we can go and pick up singles of cards over in Japan, and they've actually got it listed for 24,000 yen, which looks like a little bit of a bargain until you realise that actually it's completely sold out, and it's just going to be, when it comes back in, it's going to come back in at a higher price. Things are getting silly, ladies and gentlemen. And again, this is release day. And maybe over time the prices come down, but this doesn't happen with the real proper full-on chase cards. Now, we do have a weird situation in English between pre-release and the real release where people try and take the mick. And I've told you a bazillion times, do not buy singles between pre-release and the real release, because when the release comes, the pre-release price will go down. But that is about the only chance for these really high-level cards. You do see cards coming down quite significantly between pre-release and real release. But then once a real release comes in, you might see a small drop, and then things start creeping up again until we get to the stage where actually it's completely sold out, and then it gets just a little bit silly. I mean, let's take Umbreon Vmax as a nice example. Let's go over to TCG Player and take a look at the graph, and you'll notice that when the pre-release happened, it was a stupid expensive card. And then there was a hyper sharp drop almost immediately. That's when the real set comes out and the pre-release price turns out to be stupid. And then there's a little bit of a drop as the set comes out, and then it starts creeping up. And that's about what we tend to see from the real high-level cards. Well, Giratina's not going to have that sharp drop because there's no pre-release going on here. This is the real release. And the fact is, it doesn't seem to be dropping on release. It seems to be going up pretty significantly. I showed you that tweet from the lovely Brace Gaming going, oh, it's about a 20,000 yen card. That's bad. Oh, no, wait. Now it's gone up to a 30,000 yen card. And this keeps happening. I just showed you that Card Rush listing for 24,000 yen. Well, there was actually a listing up for 18,000 yen. Obviously, that sold out. Price went up, and it just keeps going. I am not telling you that Giratina is going to become the new Umbreon. I think Umbreon will probably still keep the crown. But I absolutely am telling you that this is the kind of thing you should be looking out for. Because it really, really does look like this is going to get a little bit silly, and this is going to become one of the most expensive cards in the Sword and Shield set. certainly at the moment, it looks like it is going to go and settle underneath only Umbreon. It looks like it is going to leave Mew in the rearview mirror, and this could get kind of hilarious. Or terrifying if you actually want to buy the card. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think. Is this a flash in the plan? Is this going to keep going? Or is something else at play? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and, well, frankly, a whole bunch of other stuff. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio. That's where there's a lovely Discord you can join in with, which is nice and fun. I do pretty much weekly bonus podcasts answering all of your questions. I'm just about to record a new one, actually, as I speak. And it's just a lovely community full of people, so... And also you do get shout-outs like the lovely Martin Cornwall, one of my very favourites, been a supporter for a long time, absolutely lovely chap. Shout out to Martin Cornwall. We are now doing these shout-outs regularly. We should have been doing them all along, but we're doing them now, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to get shouted out as an awesome person on the videos, that's one way you can do it. But for now, the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.